Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I'm in a different area. Tonight I'm sitting on a different couch, not the one that I'm usually sitting on with my back to the scary stairway. And tonight just didn't feel like sitting with my back to the scary stairway. That's weird. You know, my mother's been gone a little over 2 weeks now, and I do not like to sleep in this house alone. Not that my mother would be able to help me if anything happened, but I just feel more safe with somebody else in the house. And there are times that she has like gone to stay at my sister's, like maybe a couple years ago when, you know, we were trying to give me a break. And I was so scared in this house that it was better to just be with my mother around the clock. But this time when she left, I was ready to be alone. And this has been the most relaxing and restful 2 weeks ever. So I feel recharged, and I feel like I'll be ready for her to come home. I have a plan to make things maybe a little easier. But see, I have to remember, my plans do get shot down by my mother. You know, I've been telling my mother, trying to prepare her, that when you come home, Mom, you're going to have to do some things that they say have to be done. Like she always is going to have to wear the compression socks. I have to put them on, the compression stockings. I have to put them on her in the morning, and then we can take them off at night, but she has to wear those all day. And she's like, oh yes, 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 but it's very much like her to just insist that she not wear them, because she's been told this for years and she just doesn't like to wear them. So it is gonna be rough. But anyway, the reason for this video is I have a good example of how the narcissistic mind works, and maybe some of you will recognize this in someone else. It's almost amazing to me just how my mother's brain does things. I know this is a mental illness, it's a personality disorder, but it's funny how it always works the same way. It's like, you know, it's like a button is turned to this setting. This is the way you're going to live your life, and it just stays there and it doesn't change. As she gets older, it has lessened with the dramatic part of it, but she is still more dramatic than most people you would ever know at the age of 93. Okay, it was the other night, 10:30, I get a call from the rehab center where she is getting her therapy for her legs. And I spoke with a nurse, and she said it looked to her like my mother was in the midst of having a heart attack, and that she had already called 911. The ambulance was on the way. She'd given her 2 nitroglycerin pills, and she described my mother's pain. She says, your mother said she's having very sharp pains going through her left side to her shoulder blade, and pains up in her neck. She says those are very typical signs of heart attack, especially in women. She says she is very short of breath. Her eyes look weak and they're watery. My first thing is, these are trained professionals. They recognize a heart attack. So I was like, this is it. This is the one. This is finally, because my mother is 93, so eventually it's going to be the one. You know, I tried to just stay calm. I didn't know if I should go there or just go to the hospital because I didn't know how long. I'm like, what if she dies there at Greenwood? They might not bring her right away. If I go to the ER and they don't come right away, I'm going to go nuts thinking my mother died and that I could have been there with her. So it was just very upsetting, and I did take the time before I leave to call Sandy, because Sandy is my friend and neighbor. So I wanted to let her know, because in case something would happen, Sandy, I know, would go to the hospital to be with me in a heartbeat. So I let her know what was going on and that I was going there. And she knows my mother too, so, but we both know, you know, one day it's going to be the time. So I went to the hospital and I was very, very nervous. They weren't coming right away, and then an ambulance came and I went out. Wasn't my mother, and I came back in. She goes, we have 3 coming on the way, so, you know, just sit down and relax. And I was like, oh, my mother is going, and I'm just, you know, I'm trying to play it in my head. My mother's going to die tonight, and it's like, what does this mean for me? I mean, it's almost like, it sounds terrible, but it's almost like once she dies, it would be like, finally, the game is over. Because she's been dying since I'm a little girl. And it would be like, I will not have to feel this fear again. This is the last time I have to go through this. So her ambulance finally comes, and when they took her out and I saw her, I knew just by looking at her that she was not having a heart attack. It was the same, oh, Darlene, and it's like, oh. So we get into the ER room, and now she's complaining of her headache, and she does get headaches, and, oh, it's all in the side of my head, and so they were asking her, well, what about your chest? Oh, no, I don't have any chest pains. And it was the nurse asking the questions. So he said, you're not having any chest pains? And she said, no. And he said, but you said to the Greenwood that you were suffering from chest pains. And she said, no, I never said that. I said I had a headache. And he said to me, she told them chest pains. And I said, yes, I know. I was on the phone with them, and I know that's what they told me. They wouldn't have just made that up. So they didn't really know what to do. And he says, we have to go by what Greenwood is saying. He now, of course, they're thinking maybe she doesn't even remember what she complained about. She doesn't even remember. Maybe something has damaged her brain or whatever. So I'm trying, without my mother hearing me, I'm trying to get this guy and saying, she's all right. So finally, I get the guy outside, and I try to explain to him, and it sounds crazy when somebody says my mother's been doing this all her life, and blah, blah, blah. My mother's not having a heart attack. So the doctor comes, and she does the same thing. She asks all kinds of questions, and I'm like, I am not going to sit here all night for this again. So they said, we're going to have to do an EKG just to be on the safe side. I went out to the hallway, called them out there, and I told them, no, we are not doing another EKG. She just had one done 2 weeks ago. I know she has Medicare, even if it doesn't come out of my pocket, but there's a good chance I'll have to be paying for part of it, if not all of it, because she just had one. I don't know how many they cover, but it's like I don't even want it to use up Medicare money. So I explained to them, she doesn't need it. This is not a heart attack. And I went in and I told my mother they were going to do the EKG, but I told them no. She said, good. She says, I don't know why they'd want to do an EKG anyway. She says, I never said I had chest pains. So they come back in. We have to do it because for insurance purposes and everything, we have to do it. And I said, if you have to do it, then you have to pay for it because I'm not. I am washing my hands of any bills if I don't have the right to say what is being done. And my mother was agreeing she didn't want it done. So I said, I don't care what you have to have me sign. I will sign anything saying it's my responsibility if she drops dead when she leaves here, that I'm not going to blame the hospital, but we're not having this done. So they finally agreed, and they said, well, we're going to call the transport to come and get her and bring her back. We brought her back to the hospital. She was fine. She was fine. Her headache went away. Well, they gave her Motrin, so her headache went away. Here's how a narcissist works. In rehab, she had a headache. She wanted attention, and she wanted somebody to feel bad for her because she did have a very painful headache. So she knows saying, I have a headache, isn't going to really be a lot of attention coming her way. They're going to say, well, we can give you a Tylenol, something like that. So she makes it worse. And I'm telling you, when I went back there and I talked to the people at Greenwood, they said, if you would have seen how your mother looked, you would have known why we did. I said, I know how she can do it. I mean, my mother does very, very scary things. It was very scary growing up with her as a child. So my mother complains of something serious because she knows that's going to get the attention she needs. Then, when she's on the way to the hospital, she has to blame other people for some kind of mistake because she doesn't want to say, oh, yeah, well, no, yeah, it was hurting, but it wasn't a heart attack, because she doesn't want to be caught crying wolf. So instead of saying, well, yes, I had pain, but it's gone now, she'll say, I never said that. I never said that my chest hurt. And she has insisted to me since that night that she never told those nurses that she was having chest pains. But I know she was saying that because the nurse would not just make that up and call me. I mean, that's just crazy. Or give nitro. That's how they work. I need all the attention I can get, and I'm not going to take any blame for causing this commotion for nothing. So I'm just going to say, never said it, and it's their fault. They did it wrong. Oh, so nice. When she gets home, I just have to try to keep my space as much as possible, continue to talk to you guys. We'll get there. I just wanted to give you an example of how a narcissist works. That is it for right now. I know, I was going to say some of you, but many of you For this type of video, prefer them long, and the only reason I am not doing that is because of the time it takes me to edit. I do quite a few videos. Have you noticed? I have the channel. I've uploaded 3 already today. And now this one. You know, if you end up seeing like a 10-minute video of mine, it's probably 30 minutes of actual footage. And it could take me 2 hours to edit that. I have to do a lot of editing because I'm forever doing stuff like this. What was I going to say? I do a lot of that, and I have to cut all that stuff out. And sometimes I have to put pieces of sentences back together so they make sense. It's quite a creative process. I enjoy it, thankfully, but it takes a lot of time. And all right, thank you for watching. I really would love to do at least twice a week for this channel. I have it on my schedule for once a week, but I will try to do more. And that's why I keep saying if I could keep them short, I would probably do one every night if I could, but I go on and on and on. So we'll get there. I need more practice. I gotta push myself. Push. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.